Fans had a chance to say goodbye to Coach today. That's where we find Dom Tibbetts live. And Dom, Coach really made Doak Campbell into the stadium it is today.
The year is 1976. A man by the name of Bobby Bowden takes the reins of a Florida State football program in desperate need of a leader. In the nearly 4 decades to follow, he did more than just lead. He built a culture. He built a foundation. He built a house. If you need a visual of the house that Bobby Bowden built, you can look to Doak Campbell Stadium. Its tall brick towers piercing the Tallahassee skyline. Without Bobby Bowden, those towers and everything it holds inside would mean nothing. The house Bobby built is truly something that can't just be put into words, for it's the way he lived his life that rises to heights no brick tower across the Big Bend will ever be able to pass. The house that Bobby built is laid on a foundation of hope. And not just hope for a better football team, but hope that one day he could inspire the city he calls home to help build a community that fosters a sense of belonging. Inside the house that Bobby built, every crack, corner, and crevice, you'll find love. Arguably Bobby Bowden's most devout trait. He may not have always showed it on a football field, but off of it, guided by his faith, he poured his love for the simple gift of life into the hearts of everyone who was blessed enough to know him. No matter how you came to know of the Hall of Fame coach, the lives he's touched over the years go beyond what any one person could ever measure. Looking back on the house Bobby built, Florida State was not just in need of a leader back in 1976, but a Bobby Bowden, a man who brought a community together and bonded it like a family through his love for God and acts of kindness and compassion. And while he's no longer here, we all share a space inside the house that Bobby built. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll hear from fans who lined the walls outside the Moore Center to pay their respects to the legendary Hall of Fame coach. But for now, reporting outside the Bobby Bowden Statue Memorial, Dom Tibbetts, ABC 27.
All right, thank you, Dom. In an Alabama Sunday in his hometown of Birmingham, Coach Bowden will also lie in repose on the campus of Samford University, where he played and coached. That's open to the public starting at 4 p.m., followed by a private family burial in Trussville, about 30 minutes away. And the public funeral will be held Saturday at the Tucker Civic Center. Doors open at 9:30 in the morning. The service starts at 11. You can find all those details with this story at WTXL.tv. Tracking coronavirus right now, the Delta variant showing no signs of slowing down. COVID cases continue to climb. Now the CDC is deciding on approving a 3rd dose for those with weak immune systems of the vaccine. Daryl Forges gives us the latest.
The CDC's advisory committee has voted in favor for a 3rd COVID shot.
11 yeses, 0 noes, and the ayes have it, and the recommendation is adopted.
The Committee on Immunization Practices recommended the 3rd shot of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine for those with moderate or severe immunosuppression, not for those with a chronic condition. This is in line with the emergency use authorization from the FDA approved Thursday night. Some 9 million people in the U.S. are considered immunocompromised due to an underlying condition or medication they're taking. Health officials are still looking into if or when a 3rd dose will be needed for the general population. And as COVID cases skyrocket, the number of hospital beds continue to plummet. Nearly 80,000 Americans are hospitalized for COVID nationwide, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. Many hospitals reaching their breaking point.
We're seeing the point of full capacity. It is to the point where we're shutting down elective procedures like bypass surgeries, things that people need.
In Mississippi, things have gotten so bad, a parking garage is now a field hospital.
When you're seeing a field hospital at a major academic medical center, we're pretty much on the, at a collapse type system.
Almost 8,000 Mississippians have died from COVID. How many Mississippians have died from the vaccine? 0. We haven't verified a single death.
I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
And when it comes to schools across Florida, the Florida Education Association posted this tweet saying, quote, COVID is spreading. And while we're hopeful the Florida Department of Health will produce weekly reports on COVID in schools, we are not waiting. The tweet also included a link to their Safe Schools report, where you can see what schools have COVID cases in your district. And when it comes to getting you and your family vaccinated, the best way to end this pandemic, ABC 27 has you covered with this interactive map. You can find it right now at our website, WTXL.tv. Well, Governor DeSantis is walking a tightrope. As COVID cases and conditions worsen in the state, we're taking a closer look at his back and forth with leaders in Washington over the situation. But first, a verdict just in the J.T. Burnett trial happening in Tallahassee. We're going to have a live report on what jurors decided coming up.
If you have plans to be outside tomorrow, it's okay. Just a couple scattered thunderstorms. It's later Sunday and especially Monday when Fred's effects will be felt. We'll discuss those in detail in your First Alert forecast.
A rhetoric between the White House and Governor DeSantis has become an almost daily boxing match recently. Political experts don't expect escalation to stop anytime soon. Our Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders explains why.
For real.
The moment the president and governor shared in Surfside,
I think the God will tell you anything you ask for, we got.
Was fleeting. In recent weeks, a new fight over COVID mitigation and Florida's handling of the Delta surge embattling the two administrations.
Please help. But if you aren't going to help, at least get out of the way.
If you're coming after the rights of parents in Florida, I'm standing in your way.
Political communications expert Josh Scacco thinks there's more to it. The president and governor are reaping political benefits by landing punches. DeSantis in particular, he says, is leaning into it.
He very much takes a very kind of Trumpian approach and a Trumpian response.
Why don't you get this border secure? And until you do that, I don't want to hear a blip about COVID from you.
It raises his visibility, particularly amongst Republican voters, with national media, with national fundraisers.
It's translated into a lot of cash for DeSantis, who's facing re-election in 2022 and potentially higher office after. His campaign earning more than $4 million in July alone, using the Coral to fundraise with emails like this. Scacco expects the governor will continue relishing the war of words, but warns COVID puts him in a precarious spot.
I think that's the big risk here, is that the reality on the ground is now trumping the governor's messaging.
With hospitalizations still at record levels, DeSantis took his first major action of the Delta surge Thursday, expanding monoclonal treatments.
That's following the science.
It did earn kudos from Biden officials, but they still warn Florida's in bad shape, suggesting the D.C. DeSantis battle isn't over yet.
Our Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders reporting. And now intelligence officials noticing a similarity between current calls for violence online and the buildup to the January 6th Capitol insurrection, which you see here. Department of Homeland Security Intelligence Chief John Cohen says online extremist rhetoric is ramping up. He says it's linked to conspiracy theories and false narratives that the presidential election was illegitimate. But the comments have not mentioned specific dates or threats. This comes just days after DHS warned state and local authorities about an increase in calls for violence. And breaking right now, after 2.5 days of deliberating, a jury finds J.T. Burnett guilty on multiple charges in his corruption case. We've been following this for weeks now. Burnett was indicted in 2019. He faced 9 charges, including bribery, extortion, and bank fraud. Today, the jury found him guilty on 5 of those charges. Burnett was indicted as part of an FBI probe into bribery and racketeering among City of Tallahassee officials. Burnett's accused of working alongside former City Commissioner Scott Maddox and his business partner Paige Carter Smith to extort and bribe businesses. In return, prosecutors say Maddox would use his role on the City Commission in favor of that business, including helping the businessman end a deal with a company looking to open a hotel that could be in competition with the hotel he was looking to buy. Sentencing for this case is scheduled for October 28th at 1 p.m. We'll talk about a hot summer. July was the hottest month ever recorded around the world. That's according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. NOAA released its data showing the combined land and ocean surface temperature on Earth was nearly 2 degrees hotter than what's considered average. They say it was the hottest July in 142 years. Last month, numerous heat waves were recorded across the globe, including in the western U.S., Eastern Europe, and Asia. Cass, it's feeling hot outside, but we are keeping a close eye on the tropics right now.
That's for sure. And in late August through early and mid-September, we see more tropical activity in general.